and frivolity. And that means we're going to have one of the best former safety in the NFL who now works on SiriusXM NFL radio, works for Pro Football Focus, a man who is plugged into the NFL. He is Solomon Wilcots, a good friend who we haven't had on it's been much too long since we've had Solly on the air. Solly, what's up, man? Oh, did we lose him? Nope. There we go. All right. Sorry about Solly. We had a wrong button pushed. How you been, brother? How's things going?
Patrick, hey, I'm doing great and couldn't be better, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I am absolutely fantastic. And it's been too long since we've had you on. As busy as you are, I try not to bother you with coming on during we got to have a big event like the Super Bowl to have you on the air. You're just too busy, man. You got too much stuff going on. So
yeah, I got a lot going, but never too busy for a friend.
Hey, I appreciate that, Solly. Let's first of all, you were down in Miami. Give us some idea of what it's like. It's it's kind of a weird thing. It feels like this game has been less hyped than some of the games we've seen in the past. Maybe that's the Kobe Bryant death that was sort of overshadowing things. But give me some idea of what the atmosphere was like in Miami.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where it just continues to build every single day as we get closer to kickoff. And Friday is when you really start to get a buzz in the city, and everyone is starting. The city just swells in population, but everyone is just so ecstatic about this game because no one seems to be able to get a feel for who is going to win this game and how this game is going to play out. Everyone loves both teams. It's kind of hard to pick a side, and not even Vegas can figure out who's going to be the definitive winner. So everyone is ecstatic about the game. It's highly anticipated, no doubt. But you kind of feel like we've got new stars, new fresh blood with Pat Mahomes, and you've got these two great coaches. So I can tell you right now, the fever pitch continues to build every day, but the enthusiasm is as high as ever.
Yeah, and it's a great matchup. It's one that you look at. You mentioned fresh blood. It's Kyle Shanahan, who a lot of folks maybe knew as an offensive coordinator but didn't know much as a head coach. And I even think of Andy Reid somewhat, Solly, as fresh blood because of the way he's been able to adapt to the changes in offense. To me, Andy Reid is one of the great stories in the NFL, and it's the reason I want the Chiefs to win is just because of him. But his adaptability has been pretty remarkable when you talk about a guy who's a veteran coach that's able to come in and do what the college kids are best at.
Oh, you're right. You look at this offense, everybody knows that both offenses are born out of the old 49ers or Bill Walsh, West Coast offense. Mike Shanahan, Andy Reid, they come from that coaching tree. But I don't think anyone has taken the West Coast system and did what Andy Reid has done with it, where you get jet sweep and you've got all the exotic plays of maybe some innovative new things that we're seeing come into our game today with some of the things that are very traditional, like the screen game and play action pass and things of that nature. So Andy Reid is one of those great coaches. As long as he's been around, he still has the fundamentals of traditional play calling and traditional play design, but he's also been able to use some innovative things that he's taken maybe from Chip Kelly and some other really great college coaches that have made the game very fun.
And on the other side, you've got, in some ways, a bit of a throwback in Kyle Shanahan. Now, we all remember the Terrell Davis Denver Broncos with Mike Shanahan and running that zone stretch scheme and all the stuff that they were doing. But it seems like Kyle Shanahan has gotten uber creative with kind of an old school run game, and that's pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, and that goes back to the Bill Walsh days where you got trapped inside wham and some counter plays. It really is designed to keep the defense off balance. Whatever the defense does, they could easily guess wrong, and they could find themselves in trouble and getting gassed. That's exactly what you saw happen to the Green Bay Packers defense. And Kyle Shanahan and that offense had record-setting numbers when it came to running the football. So they're highly adaptable, that offense. You can't tell me who's the one player that the offense runs through with the 49ers. I mean, it could be any one player, one of three different running backs. It could be Kittle. It could be one of the many receivers, most likely a Deebo Samuels or Emmanuel Sanders. But, yeah, so many different players, but they're so flexible and so diversified in terms of run, pass, or a specific player who might carry the load of the offense that I think it makes them very difficult to plan for.
You know what? I kind of think this game reminds me a little bit of the college football national championship game in that there's a lot of talk about three of the four groups that are going to be on the field and not a lot of talk about the fourth one. In the LSU Clemson game, a lot of talk about Trevor Lawrence and Clemson's offense, Brent Venables and Clemson's defense, Joe Burrow and the LSU offense, but not a lot of talk about the LSU defense. I think in the Super Bowl we're getting the same thing. A lot of talk about Shanahan, the 49ers offense, how good the 49ers defense has been, Pat Mahomes, and the Kansas City offense. The Kansas City defense, to me, Solly, feels like the wild card in this game. That feels like the unit where if they play well, Kansas City probably wins, but if they fall victim to, like Green Bay and a bunch of other teams before them, to what the 49ers do, that it's going to be very hard for Kansas City to win.
There's no doubt. This defense, they've sort of been a tale of two seasons. During the first 10 games of the season, they rank near the bottom of the league in every statistical category when it comes to run defense. And then over the last 8 games, because they played 18 in all, they've improved and they come up to about mid-sized level. But I don't know that they've risen to the level of a championship defense. And that's where people are very concerned. So they're going to have to play a lot better than what we've seen all season long if they're going to have that kind of game you just mentioned.
Do you think at some point that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to factor into this game, or is he going to be able to just sit back and attempt 9 passes and just hang out and hand the ball off?
No, you're not going to be able to hide because Jimmy Garoppolo has been able to produce in games where he's been called on to do so. Like he couldn't hide against the New Orleans Saints when they played in the Superdome because Drew Brees wasn't going to let him. Drew Brees is making plays. And so Pat Mahomes, I think, is going to do the same thing. When another offense is putting points on the board, a quarterback from the opposing team can't hide.
Yeah.
If the offense struggles for the Kansas City Chiefs and this become a low-scoring game, then, yeah, he can hide, you see. Or if the run game is just cranking and they're trying to play keep away and they're just trying to eat clock, and it's run, and a pass here, pass there, he might get away with just being marginal. But, no, he's going to have to make a critical throw, critical read, critical decision, and do a better job of protecting the football, particularly when throwing over the middle of the field and defended by linebackers. No, he's not going to be able to hide in this one. That's what Super Bowls are all about, and I don't think any of us would have it any other way.
No, absolutely. Talking to Solomon Wilcots, DB in the NFL, now working for SiriusXM NFL as well as Pro Football Focus. And speaking of that, Solly, it's Pro Football Focus has done, I think, a remarkable job. We've seen a lot of the new analytics that are coming into play in the NFL. Baseball was kind of on the forefront, and it seems like everyone else is sort of catching up. What's that been like working with those guys and dealing with all of the new stats and metrics that are available?
Wow. I mean, it's been very eye-opening because, I think there's two worlds out there. There's the traditional football world that does a really good job of breaking down their game and understanding the nuances. But then this data, analytical world has done a much deeper dive and sort of quantifying and evaluating and sort of, exploring these other data points that you don't necessarily find in the box score. But they can be very revealing. And so that's where Chris Collinsworth and Neil Hornsby over at Pro Football Focus, as we call it, PFF, has done a really good job of using those data points, bringing them over into the broadcast booth, as Chris does a wonderful job on Sunday Night Football, and helping people to understand. You see the networks now using the data analytics. Teams are using it. In fact, all 32 teams are clients, work along with PFF. We send our data to them. They use it to not only evaluate how they should make key critical decisions in games, but how to evaluate their current roster and how to evaluate the opponent each and every week. So it's a vital, important part of our game. And to be honest with you, I think it's here to stay.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. And look, sometimes you can go completely overboard on stats. You can get, paralysis by analysis, so to speak. But I think there is a lot of value in having some of those stats available to you, because it does oftentimes, Sully, show you glaring areas that maybe you didn't realize were issues either for your own team or an opponent that you're getting ready to face.
Yeah, for instance, what if you were evaluating two quarterbacks now coming out of college, or two quarterbacks in free agency that you got to sign one, and you're trying to figure out which one to sign, or you're trying to figure out which one to draft. There's these two statistical data points, for instance, that you'll never find in the box score. One is called big-time throws. That is, throws 20 yards down the field or longer. That literally made it so easy for the receiver to make the play that the quarterback's throw and his accuracy and his ball placement were the critical reason for that completion. So that would be credited as a big-time throw. Or on the other end, maybe a turnover-worthy play. What is a turnover-worthy play? What if I throw a pass and the defensive back can't catch it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just hitting right in the chest, falls to the ground, and it shows up in the box score as an incompletion. Or if he tries to catch it and it ricochets off his hand and the receiver keeps running and he catches it, it shows up in the box score as a touchdown. Well, that's a false sort of evaluation if you're looking at the box score to see how two guys perform. Both guys have 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. But one guy has 3 turnover-worthy plays and the other one has none, and he's got 2 more big-time throws. Well, you would never know that, because how many fans watch every single play of every single player? And, well, Pro Football Focus would grade every single play of every single player. It goes into the database, and it counts. Nothing falls on the cutting room floor. So we give you a much clearer snapshot, a much clearer picture of that player's overall performance, whereas if you just relied on the box score, there would be some missing pieces to the puzzle, and you would be getting an illusion. You would be seeing something that really isn't very clear, and you would think both players are pretty equal when in reality they're not.
Speaking of, Solly, you're a Cincinnati guy. You played for the Bengals. Have you looked at the LSU quarterback, Joe Burrow? Have you started looking at his numbers, or is that a post-Super Bowl thing to start breaking him down?
Are you kidding me? He's graded very high.
Yeah.
Pro Football Focus. He's answered every single test. Very few turnover-worty plays, right?
Yeah.
Very few interceptions, 60 or more touchdowns, and close to 80 big-time throws. His ball placement and overall accuracy is as good as any college quarterback that we've seen in the PFF era dating back to 2006. He has been utterly phenomenal. And so I know people are going to try to pick his game apart.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing so at their own peril. And the reason why I say that, because later they will be found to be fraudulent in their assessment, because while he doesn't walk on water, it's very close.
Right. He's not very deep in it anyway, as he's going across. Is it just a done deal that he's going to your squad, the Bengals?
Well, if the Bengals don't take him, they will be, I'm telling you right now, they would be ridiculed, I think, for a long time, because I think Joe Burrow is going to be successful. The argument is not whether or not he'll be successful, it's whether or not the team will be successful in helping him to be the player that we know him to be.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll fail the team. Question is, will the team fail him?
Yeah.
I think they'll take him. Anytime you have the first overall pick, you need a quarterback. And in some drafts, as you well know, the quarterback just isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
There was one year in 2007, it was DeMarcus Russell and Brady Quinn at the top of the board with quarterbacks. That was one year you would not have wanted the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Okay? In a year where Andrew Luck is there, you got the first overall pick. Man, you're happy. And
Yeah.
I think this is one of those years. Joe Burrow is worthy of a number one overall pick. He proved it every single Saturday, and he definitely proved it during the postseason.
Yeah.
So, if the Bengals don't make that pick and run that card up to the commissioner, something's really terribly wrong.
All right, Solly, last thing for you, my friend, and thank you so much for your time. Give us. Are you making a pick on the game, or are you staying? Are you staying neutral? What are you doing with the game? Give me an evaluation.
This is the only Super Bowl I have to stay neutral on because I have two very, very, very close friends, college friends, going back. Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
I helped recruit him to the University of Colorado. He's from my hometown of Los Angeles, and he came there and helped us win a national championship. On that same team with us was our tight end, John Embry, who works with the Shanahan family, and he coaches George Kittle, and a very dear close friend of mine. And both of these two guys are on the same coaching staff at the University of Colorado, and we all played for Bill McCartney. So I cannot let these guys see that somewhere along the line I picked one team against them. I told myself, my friendship means more to me. And those guys mean more to me than being heard on who I think is going to win.
No, that's totally understandable. Actually, you brought up an interesting point. Are you concerned that Eric Bieniemy didn't get more looks or more love in this offseason coaching carousel?
Yes, and I'm not concerned about Eric Bieniemy. I know who he is. I know his character. Right now, I'm questioning the character of NFL owners, these new breed of owners who I don't know if they get it. I don't know if they understand that what made this country great, Patrick, is people coming from all parts of from the globe, bringing the best of their land, their native land. And that's what allowed this country to accelerate economically, technologically, in every way, scientifically, and from an industry standpoint, faster than any other nation in the history of the world. It is our differences that allows us to grow. So if you're going to hire people who look like you, talk like you, act like you, and good luck with that. I don't think you prosper in that way. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have more trophies than anyone else, or at least as many as any other team, because they have done things differently. And they do understand what diversity means. They're not afraid of that. And so Eric Bieniemy is a fine coach. He will bring you something. That's exactly what he's done since he's been there in Kansas City. No one had a problem with Matt Nagy if he called plays before he got a job.
Mm-hmm.
No one had a problem with Doug Peterson if he called plays before he got the job in Philly. And all of a sudden, there's this new criteria for coming out of Andy Reid's system. Didn't do this, can't do this, don't know about this. Well, we know what that looks like, and that's okay. Let those organizations continue to struggle. Eric Bieniemy is a man of high character, tremendously talented, and a motivated coach who knows how to motivate players. And the team that selects him, I think they're going to be all the better for having done it when that moment arrives.
Well stated, my friend. I've already taken up much too much of your time today. I know you're back home finally. Enjoy the game. And, Solly, let's do this again before too long, man. It's been too long since we chatted. Thank you so much for your time.
Will do, Patrick. All the best to you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Solomon Wilcots.